A man recently became the first person to get on a flight without a boarding pass. Instead, he used just a chip that was implanted in his hand. The Swedish man boarded the jet in Stockholm and posted the video on YouTube. The video also showed the process of implanting the chip, which is about the size of a grain of rice. The test subject is the vice president of a technology consulting firm. He says this was just an experiment and not necessarily something that's coming soon to airports. The London Telegraph reports the technology used in that chip has already been used to make digital payments.
Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, for giving us the understanding of the Holy Bible through their men, beginning with the apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone. Right, these are the true men of the Lord, the servants, the prophets that are worthy of double honors in the time that we're living in, which we're living at the very end of the world, right, pursuant to Matthew 24 verse 3, 2 Ezra 6 verse 9. World in the sense of the Greek word eon, which means an age, and right now we're living at the end of Esau's age, Esau being the so-called white man, the so-called Caucasian race. We're living at the end of their kingdom. Okay, so us as Israelites, and more specifically the hopeful elect of Israel, were to rejoice at the fact that we're living at the end of this man's system. Okay, so with that being said, Yahweh Ba'ashma Washai Bahashem Rakah Kodash Brakatham to the 144,000 servants as well as the remaining elect of Israel. Anyway, I just came across this article from BBC News. As you can see, it says biometrics to replace stamps at EU border from 12th of October or October 12th this year. So what's happening right now is that they're transitioning into this digital society. Okay, the fourth industrial revolution, as it were. As a matter of fact, let's look up what fourth industrial revolution means. What is the fourth industrial revolution? And does it involve microchip implant? The fourth industrial revolution refers to the current era of technology advancement characterized by the fusion of digital, biological and physical systems. It involves emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, quantum computing, biotechnology, and advanced materials. Microchip implants can be a part of this revolution, particularly in areas like healthcare, which I just done a lesson on that, you know, concerning the Trump administration bringing about, you know, the digital healthcare technology. All right, that's the era we're living in. And again, at the helm of that revolution is going to be the chip, which is the mark of the beast. So it says microchip implants can be a part of this revolution, particularly in areas like healthcare, security, which that's what this article is going into, all right, and human augmentation. These implants are used for purposes such as medical monitoring, identification, and even enhancing certain physical or cognitive abilities. Okay, the scriptures speak about you know, this man deceiving them by his miracles, right? His lying wonders, as the Apostle Paul spoke about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right. It says, however, they represent just a small aspect of the broader technological changes defining this revolution. Well, that's not true, because the microchip implant is going to be at the helm of this revolution. Okay. Nonetheless, what we're looking at here ties in with the fourth industrial revolution, which is basically the merging of man and technology. Okay, and we're in the beginning stages of, this technocracy. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's look up that word. What is a technocracy? A technocracy is a system of governance where decision makers are selected based on their expertise in specific technical fields such as science, engineering, or economics. In a technocracy, leaders are typically specialists who make policy decisions grounded in data, research, and technical knowledge rather than political affiliations or popular vote. So anyway, it says this here in the article: stamps in people's passports will be replaced by biometric checks for people traveling in and out of the EU from October 12th, officials have confirmed. Which the word biometric basically means, well, bio refers to the body, metric means measurement. And the tool that they're going to introduce to the masses of people to measure what's going on in your body is gonna come in the form of the chip real soon. Okay, the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. So again, we're getting closer and closer to that vision being fulfilled on a global level, because it's already out. The chip, there's thousands of people around the world that are already using the chip. Okay, such as people out there in Sweden. I believe you've got like 50 to 60,000 people that have adopted the microchip in their lives. All right, the microchip implant in their life. So it's only a matter of time before the whole wide world get on board with that technology. It says the entry/exit system will replace the current paper checks and will mean passengers from the UK will need to have their fingerprints and faces scanned to cross an EU border. All right, because they're getting ready to make paper obsolete. Okay, as it pertains to traveling, identification, and of course money. All right, they plan on getting rid of paper money as we know it. That's why they want to introduce these digital currencies, which they have done already. You've got CBDCs, which is central bank digital currency. Out here in America, you've got this stable coin, which is another form of cryptocurrency, digital currency, if you will. All right, and all that digital currency is going to be stored on the chip. Okay, everything is going to revolve around having the chip underneath the skin. So reason to say the scheme will be rolled out across member nations over 6 months, meaning it will not be fully implemented until April 10th, 2026. It was due to come into effect last November, but has been beset by technological delays. Under the new system, non-EU citizens, which is people that don't reside in Europe You know, they don't have citizenship in any of the EU nations, including people from the UK, will need to register their biometric data along with their passport details to enter an EU country. You see that? Now, again, upon the next Black Swan event, whatever that may be, this is going to go from you needing to register your biometric data. It's going to go from that to them making it mandatory that you have a chip underneath your skin in order to go to and fro, so to speak. Okay, that's why it says in the vision, Revelation 13 and 16, and he causeth, all right, and he causeth all, the he being Esau, beginning with their wicked elite families, you know, the central banking families, such as the Rothschilds and their contemporaries, which they, you know, they govern this world as a shadow government. They're the ones that's pulling the strings, so to speak, behind the scenes. You know, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna use their various different puppets. You know, the government, the various different prime ministers. Of course, you're gonna have President Trump. You know, they're all gonna do the bidding of the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, concerning bringing about this new world order. Okay, and making it mandatory for you to have a chip to participate in what they're branding as the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Okay. It goes on to say, anyone who refuses to provide biometric data will be denied entry into the EU. You see that? Anyone who refuses to provide the biometric data will be denied entry into the EU. So again, they're making it to where if you don't get down with this system, you know, this biometric system that they're setting up, you're going to be denied entry into particular regions, right, out there in Europe. Okay, this is why the time that we're coming into is known as the hour of temptation. Now, of course, again, you know, you providing biometric data, you know, via your you know, fingerprints or a face scan, that's not the mark of the beast. But what we're warning you is that the time is coming when, you know, these people are going to make it mandatory for you to actually have a chip, okay, in your hand or in your forehead, as in your brain, in order to again participate in this society. And what we're looking at here is the beginning stages of that. Okay, there's a thing called gradualism. As a matter of fact, let's look up what the word gradualism means. What's the meaning of gradualism? Gradualism is the belief or policy that change should occur slowly and incrementally over time, rather than through sudden or radical shifts. Okay. It is often used in political, social, and evolutionary contexts to describe processes that develop through small, continuous progressions. And that's how, you know, these Edomites, the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, are getting down concerning establishing their new world order, you know, and, you know, setting up this society to where everyone is chipped. They're doing it gradually. It says, currently, travelers have to present their passport to a border official to be checked and stamped. The data will be collected at the point of departure, either at an airport, port or train station, where there will be dedicated booths for scanning fingerprints and taking a photo. Again, you know, this booth at some point in the near future, you know, they're gonna go from scanning fingerprints and taking a photo to you presenting either your hand or your forehead, you know, with the chip. It's gonna transition, man. It says this record would then be valid for 3 years, and means on later trips border officers will only need to verify a person's biometrics, which the EU hopes will take less time. People with e-passports will also be able to use e-gates, electronic gates. There is no cost for, I guess, entry-exit registration. Very interesting. For most tourists, digital records will only be held for 3 years and a day. But for those who overstay the 90-day limit without a visa, will have their data held for 5 years. The system aims to tighten border security, keyword being security, which we just read. You know, that's a major part of the fourth industrial revolution. You know, the system aims to tighten border security, but has raised concerns of long queues. The UK government has warned travellers to be prepared to wait during busy times when the scheme begins, as the checks will take several minutes to complete. And that's where you get the term auto abkeo from. Okay, because you're going to have all these long lines, these long queues, you know, which eventually is going to erupt into chaos. And the solution that they're going to present is everyone being chipped. All right, that's going to be the most speedy and convenient way, you know, to diffuse these long queues, right? And the hassle of you know, these border checks in the booths and whatnot. So again, you know, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. As a matter of fact, let's read further down here. It says, once the EES is in place, UK nationals will therefore be able to use e-gates where they are available, provided they are registered in the system. You see, so you're gonna have to actually be a part of this system in order to, you know, move as you please, so to speak. Otherwise, you're going to be restricted. So, you know, this is what this fourth industrial revolution entails. This is what the New World Order is all about. And again, it's only a matter of time where, you know, they present the microchip implant as a means to go about your business. And if you don't have that chip, well, you're going to be excluded, right? Because this New World Order is about inclusion and exclusion. So anyway, that's what I want to bring out. I pray and hope that you're edified, and until next time, I'll say shalom.